On a future video, we will be doing a Titans trade mailbag. All of your ideas and questions as it relates to potential trades Tennessee could make. But in order to do the mailbag, we need your ideas and trades and comments and whatnot. So, in the comments section right now, using hashtag Titans, I want you guys to put your very best trade ideas or questions for Tennessee, and the best ones will be picked for that upcoming video. You're watching Tennessee Titans Today. I am Tom Downey, and although OTAs technically don't end until Thursday, the final open portion of OTAs are over, so it is the perfect time to do some OTA winners and losers, the final version of this video, since you guys seem to enjoy it so far. Overarching all the practices factored in here, we're going to begin positive with the winners. First up, Austin Hooper. The chemistry between Hooper and Tannehill appears to have come along pretty quick, which is a really big deal for Tennessee. They will lean more heavily on the tight end room than what they did last year because, it wasn't that great overall. That chemistry being built early is a very positive sign. I would anticipate Hooper having a little bit closer to his peak years in Atlanta than what he did in Cleveland. I got a long list of names coming up here, but I think I can say with confidence that you guys follow your favorite team pretty closely, and you know who the winners and losers are, at least have some ideas. So I want to hear from you in the comments. Shout out a Titans OTA winner right now. Here's one, quarterback Ryan Tannehill. A very good sign here. All of the praise has been positive for Tannehill. All the comments, he's making big plays, looks sharp, good leader, etc., blah, blah, blah. That's exactly what you want to hear out of your quarterback. Now, at the same time, what he does in June, in July, in August, in September, October, November, December, it's not going to matter. We know that Ryan Tannehill is a good starting caliber quarterback in the regular season. What Tennessee needs out of him in what could end up being a make-or-break year for him long-term with the way his contract is set up is to be better in the postseason. Look, I know it's a small sample size, 5 games versus 45, but a full yard per average less and almost 5 percentage points in terms of accuracy, doubling his interception rate, that's not good. Tennessee needs Tannehill to be better this upcoming year in 2022, assuming Tennessee once again makes it back to the postseason. Now, not counting buys, which should count as a playoff win, by the way, Tennessee hasn't been quite as successful as they were in Tannehill's first year making the postseason. So do you think the Titans will win a playoff game this year? Y for yes or N for no. This is the pinned comment on today's video, so if the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there, type in Y for yes, they will, N for no, they will not. Let's get to the receivers. There are a lot of them who have been winners, by the way, not including Robert Woods, Nick Westbrook-Akina, Dez Fitzpatrick, who I have not been the most supportive of in the past. It's just an opinion after all. He's made some plays, though. Not afraid to give him shout-outs. He has drawn praise from both Mike Vrabel and Ryan Tannehill. That is what you want out of your 4th-round pick who didn't make the active roster 53-man-wise to begin last season. A more under-the-radar name has been Josh Malone, a local kid, of course, played for the Volunteers. He's been making some plays as well. Now, Malone is not guaranteed a roster spot. Frankly, it's a bit of a tricky path to making the 53-man roster, and if I had to bet, it's probably a no. But he's doing everything he can to make some big plays, stick out, and leave an impression on his coaching staff. Didn't play last year in the NFL, at least regular season-wise, but he's going to push for a spot. What makes things tricky is he's receiver 7, I'd say. Woods, Burks, NWI, who's also impressed. Those guys are all roster locks. You love what Racey McMath does as a special teamer. You drafted Kyle Phillips. That means, unless you bail on Fitzpatrick again, which I don't think ends up happening this time around, Malone does face a tricky path, but there is always the practice squad after all. Let's go to the offensive line. Jamarco Jones. We know right now that Dylan Radins is working almost exclusively at right tackle. That leaves Jamarco Jones and Aaron Brewer in a battle for the left guard spot. Brewer, by the way, has been banged up and limited, working on the side some at OTAs, which means Jones is the one getting the reps at left guard. It is early. It's only June after all, but that gives him a leg up in the race to be the starting left guard. I'm not confident in either guy right now, but that puts Jones in a pretty good spot to be the early frontrunner with quite a long way still to go. We are still trying to get our Titans channel, Titans Today, to 4,000 subscribers. We've got a long way to go as well. It's been a slow build relative to our other channels, so I am challenging you, the 60% or so who watch the show but aren't subscribed, to change that. Free videos almost every single day on the Tennessee Titans when you hit that big red button right now. Let's look now at some backup running backs. And with Derrick Henry not present, which for the record, it's fine. I don't need to see Henry until like late August. Put him on ice. We know he's a star. The backups, though, have been making some plays. Dontrell Hilliard has flashed. He's been getting the reps with the ones. He's made some big-time plays. Hassan Haskins has flashed some. Trent Cannon has flashed as well. There is talent behind Henry, and God forbid something happens to him, you want him to start making some nice plays. Hell, even Julius Chestnut, the UDFA, has flashed a little bit as well. That's all good for Tennessee. Now, make no mistake, you want Derrick Henry to get the majority of your workload because, he's King Henry, right? So what is your confidence level in the backup running back? Scale it 1 to 100. 1 being you want to go trade for someone. There's nobody good. 100, it's going to be the best backup group in the NFL. Let's talk defense now. Amani Hooker first up here. He made some early plays at OTAs. I will be honest, a little bit tougher to identify some defensive OTA winners because your key guys are either not present or a little bit banged up, which we'll spend some time on there. Jeffrey Simmons isn't there, but Dupree's not there, Landry's not there. So your core key cogs on your loaded defense aren't out there. You don't have that many young guys because you're so established. Hooker, though, definitely stands out to me. Next up is Roger McCreary. Now, the cornerback room is a little bit banged up. Elijah Molden, Christian Fulton. Good news on Caleb Farley. That's a big deal for me. I like to see that he's getting back there. But those guys have been a bit nicked up, and it's fine. I'm not worried about them. They are not losers. But with all the injuries, that means the rookie out of Auburn, Roger McCreary, who I loved coming out despite his undersized and under-length frame. I think that makes sense as of now. I don't know. He's making some plays and getting a lot of early reps. That's a big deal for a young player. He's a corner. He's going to get burnt. That's how life works, but he did not get beat very much at Auburn. He was a lockdown guy. I loved the value Tennessee had in him. As producer Jeremy and I were talking about before the show, I think this is one of, if not the best defensive back rooms in the entire NFL. Those were your winners. Time now for losers. And I will preface this by saying it is June. If you are a loser in June, minus like a couple of exceptions we'll get into, doesn't really mean that much. But it's not quite the start you were hoping for. And you might get mad at me for our first one, but you got to deal with it. Treylon Burks. Now, we know he has asthma. I'm not worried about that. What is kind of like head-scratching, confusing, worrisome, weird is that Burks missed Tuesday's OTA practice for an undisclosed reason that Mike Vrabel refused to comment on, but said it wasn't asthma. It's been something every day with Burks. The inhaler, it's asthma. Now he's just not there, not for OTAs. I don't get it. I still think Burks is going to ball out this year for Tennessee. But I want my rookies at OTAs. They need reps. I need Burks to get as many reps as possible with Ryan Tannehill. Burks is going to be my number one receiver sooner than later. The sooner I get there, the better. So I'm not panicking on Burks, but God, just be out there, dude. Next up is Malik Willis. And we've sung his praises before for good reason. Now it's time for the flip side. He has not been perfect, and we have to emphasize that part. He has shown upside. There have also been issues with snaps and accuracy, and that's okay. I didn't expect Malik Willis to push Tannehill for the starting job this year. Here's what Jim Wyatt, Titans Online, wrote about Malik Willis. Quote, He's had his moments in OTAs. Some good, some not so good. His first snap under center on Tuesday ended up on the ground. He didn't field his second snap cleanly either. Willis made some nice ones in the session, including a bullet to receiver Racey McMath in team period, but several of his Tuesday tosses missed their targets because of good plays with the defense or throws that were off target a bit. That's okay. Be patient with Malik Willis. These snap issues have been a little bit of a potentially worrisome constant theme so far at OTAs, but that's a third-round pick who we all knew pre-draft needed time. And he's a third-rounder. I am less worried about him struggling earlier than I were if you made him your first-round pick, for example. So who is the biggest loser so far of OTAs? I got one name in particular at the end of today's show, so stick around for that. But I want to hear from you guys first and foremost. The biggest loser so far of OTAs. Cheating now with two names on the injury side of things. We don't have the exact details on how severe the injuries are, but two players were injured at Tuesday's OTA practice. First up, the UDFA kicker Caleb Shudak, who I thought was actually going to push for the job. Well, he was good on 30 from his 33-yarder, missed his made his 35-yarder too, missed his 40-yarder, got his 43-yarder, then was trying one from 47, and appeared to injure his kicking foot, leg, might have kicked the ground first. That's not great for a kicker. Hopefully he's okay for minicamp and beyond. Then Tommy Hudson. He slipped on Tuesday, suffered a left leg injury. Details not yet clear, but he was carted off. Hopefully it is minor for a potential backup option at tight end. Finally, the biggest loser is Derwin Gray. He got cut, which I feel pretty bad for him about, but he's off the team. That does make him a pretty big loser if we're being honest. Now, you knew about Derwin Gray getting cut if you watched yesterday's video. That was at the end of the show. If you made it to the end of today's video, comment squad in the comments so I can see who the true diehard Titans fans are. Comment squad if you made it all the way to the end of today's video right now.